This is the Endeavor machinery. We're going to be going over how to operate it in this video. At the start of the day, you'll go over to your electrical cabinet and turn on the knife switch, like so. Now at the start of the day, you'll go ahead and turn on the air to the machine. Now that we've turned on power to our electrical cabinet, we're going to go ahead and turn on the control circuit, allowing power to the computer. Here we have the start machine button. We're going to go ahead and turn that on to allow power to the machinery so that we can home it. Here we have the emergency stop, which we can press in the event of an emergency. Now that we have the control console on, we're going to allow Kval Cam to boot up. Now that we have Kval Cam booted up, I'm going to go ahead and start the start machine button. And I'm going to go ahead and allow it to start and hit home. Now the lock and hinge side are homing, and we'll be ready to run a door. Now that we've homed the machine, we're going to go into our door job libraries. We're going to select our door file, and we're going to go ahead and add it to queue. It's going to go ahead and pre-position and wait on a door. We can go here to see our door job pending. Here on the main screen for the Endeavor, we have all the machine buttons. We'll go top to bottom. Here is the button for homing the machine. Here is the button for resetting in the event of an error. Setup mode here, we have a button to go ahead and run the machinery, moving all the servos but not running any of the routers. Helpful for troubleshooting. We have the auto feed here for automatically feeding doors in. Here we have the door stop, manual, and manual door clamp. Here we have the manual start sequence for when you're manually clamping a door. Here we have a manual door finish button for when you're auto feeding doors. Here we have all 4 probes: thickness, length, lock depth, and hinge depth for your Z-axis. Here we have manual control of the feed, forward and reverse, in fast and slow. Here we have the width adjust for opening and manually closing. Here we have all 4 heads and their job descriptions on the features that they have for locations and length, whether or not they're synced and whether or not they're in the same grouping. Here we have basic parameters for your door job: length, width, thickness, and handing. Here we have the measured thickness from the thickness probe. Here we have the measured length from the hinge side. Here we have the measured length from the lock side. Here we have the lock side task. Same thing as the hinge side, just for the lock. Here we have the routine speed control, able to control the whole machine when it's cutting in percentages, and you're able to enter in any manual amount that you have. On the upper tabs, on the main tab of the Endeavor, you have manual servo control. If we go in, we have manual servo control for all axes, X, Y, and Z, for each head. Hinge heads 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then your lock head. Here you have your tool config tab. Here for the hinge heads, your point-to-point drill, your main router, standard rotate, your counter rotate, and your upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right chisels. Basic parameters for all of these: diameter, tool length, max depth per pass, plunge feed rate, and then spindle speed. Same thing for the routers. Percentages for all those at the bottom, and material type. Same thing for the lock side. Here we have calibrations for all those tools, hinge head 1 through 4, and then lock head. Here we have calibrations for the depth probes in 0 and 3 degree for your X axis and Y axis. Here you have your leg probes, your thickness probe, and your feed system. If we go here, we have our toolpath preview. We can select a grouping for either the hinge or lock side, and it tells you what the individual tool that it's using is. Here we can see the path in G-code that it's taking. Under the status tab, we have the status of each individual manager, whether true or false or in an error state. Here we have the log in real time of what the machinery is doing, whether it's spitting out the information for the length, width, thickness, or Z-axis probe. Here at the main UI, we're going to go over Kval Cam. We're going to go into the library and add a door job. Here we have basic parameters. You have your right hand, left hand, and their reverse counterparts. Here you have basic parameters for your width, length, thickness, hinge beveling, lock beveling, and feed rate for just this door job. If we scroll down to our feature tree, you have groupings for your lock side, indicated here on your lock side. Same thing on your hinge side. If we scroll down, we get individual information on those specific sides. If we scroll down further, we have defined properties that you can add. If we go to the 3D rendering on the right-hand side, you can lock into one of these 6 buttons and snap onto a specific side. If you hold right-click on the mouse button, you can articulate the 3D rendering. Same thing here on the right-hand side. You can use the right mouse button to articulate the 3D rendering. Now that I've added a door job to the queue, I'm going to go ahead and hit auto feed to the Endeavor and feed it in. As it's feeding in, you'll see a length probes measure. The thickness and the Z-axis probes are measuring at the same time. And now they're running sequence. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add it to the queue, hit auto feed in the Endeavor, and then simulate an emergency ESOP. Now that I've hit the E-stop, all the routers have retracted and motors are off. We're going to go ahead and turn that off, turn start machine back on, and rehome to go ahead and recover. The machine should pick up right where it left off, and you should be able to hit auto feed to restart. Now at the end of the day, we're going to go over to our control console and start by shutting down. We're going to go over to Kval Cam, right mouse button, hit exit, then we'll go to our Windows icon, shut down, wait for it to be safe to shut down the computer, and then we'll turn off the control circuit. Now that it's safe to turn off, we'll turn off our control switch. Now that we've turned off power to the control console, we're going to go ahead and turn off the air to the machine, located at the outfeed side of the Endeavor. Now that you've turned off power to the control console, you're going to go to your electrical cabinet and turn off the knife switch.